All right, hello, wine drinking people. Today is Friday, the 20th of January, and we have got a lot of drinking going on here at the Wine Watch. And today, in our What I Drank Yesterday section, our review on our 2009 Burgundy tasting. Those of you that have been watching the show know that we have been touting 2009 for over a year now. We've been doing First, we started with barrel samples with Louis Jadot and then Luc Bouchard. And then we've got an onslaught of tastings we're going to be doing this year with these 2009s. A phenomenal vintage. We've got Mr. Alex Gamble in next. Just a couple of weeks away. Well, actually, maybe about a month away or longer now. He'll be here on the 25th of February. And our next big Burgundy tasting is the Musigny tasting on the 2nd or 3rd of February. Going all the way back to 64, including great producers, great vintages, an event not to be missed, truly once in a lifetime. Well, this was the first comprehensive 2009 tasting we've done so far, mostly on just the wines that we've brought into the store so far. And one of the quotes from Alex Gamble that I love about this vintage, the tannins are like melted chocolate. These wines very appealing right now, even the top level wines, the Grand Cru and top level Premier Cru. Amazing how drinkable these wines are. So we started out this evening with a little Bourgogne Chardonnay. Well, all of Burgundy whites are Chardonnay, and all the reds are Pinot Noir, well, with the exception of Beaujolais Gamay, which some people don't consider part of Burgundy. But this Bourgogne from Gamble, really ripe forward pear and green apple fruit, a touch of vanilla spice, and a little limestone minerality showing there on the nose. Lovely creamy texture on the tongue with that ripe apple and a nice lemon citrus fruit showing. And a slight mineral note there. Drinking really nice right now, really forward, and a little flinty note to this wine as well. Very good. The Gambal Saint-Aubin d'Antochin. This is a bit toasty oak nuance noticed in the nose here, and some of that stone kind of a limestone minerality showing to that pear and lemon drop candy fruit. Really nice forward fruit on the tongue, a hallmark of this 2009 vintage. The impression of that terroir also showing, and that lightly toasted oak spice. Really nicely balanced wine. Excellent juice, the Saint-Aubin Premier Cru from Gamble. All right, next up, the Pommard Clos d'Ursule from Mr. Bichot. And this is a new winery to us here. This is the first time we showed these wines, but man, what a pretty bouquet here on this nose. An array of fresh flowers, raspberry coulis, some of that clay-like minerality showing as well. Really smooth and silky on the tongue. Lovely velvety texture here with fresh acidity holding everything together. A hint of raw meat here as well. Really nice spice on the finish here. An excellent, very pretty bottle of Pommard. All right, next up, the Volnay and Chevrette from Gamble, and this is a really nice pretty nose here on this wine with fresh cherry and raspberry fruit, a hint of exotic spices, little floral notes there showing as well, and a little bit of a smoky quality also coming in as this wine opened up, but real nice firmness on the palate, something you get sometimes with Volnay, and really pretty wine. You know, I'm sorry we missed two wines here. Our buddy Austin from Petit Dudvin was here, and he brought by some Glantenay wine, some last-minute entries. The Bourgogne Rouge from this wine, really nice, a silky wine, and very forward, fruity, and maybe better than most Bourgogne Rouges, but at $37.50, man, we expect it to be like Coach de Riz-like for a Bourgogne Rouge. This is, of course, a small domain, so they're located in Volnay. A lot of this probably does come from Volnay, some of their declassified village and Premier Cru possibly. Well, 2009, probably not much declassified Premier Cru wine. We did have their Volnay also. This wine had quite a bit more punch to it on the palate here. Some nice raspberry coulis-like fruit, exotic spices, and velvety tannins again here. Nice richness showing. A little bit on the light side compared to the Volnay en Chevrette, but you really notice that terroir starting to show in that wine as well. The Jadot Gevrey Chambertin, very light in color. Maybe I placed this wine a little bit too far along the line. You know, I always go south to north when I do Burgundy tastings, and you always want to show the village wines before the Premier Cru. This en Chevrette, a Premier Cru wine, quite a bit bigger. The light color, don't be eluded by that with Pinot Noir, because this wine still had a lot of spice, light smoke, and a little bit of rose petal, kind of floral notes along with underbrush in the nose. Lovely red cherry, kind of pomegranate-like fruits, big on the palate, but you know, these tannins, as I mentioned before in these 2009s, very appealing, really easy to drink. But this wine definitely had the most grip on the tongue here. Really pretty Gevrey Chambertin from Jadot. Bouchard, Père Fils, the first Bouchard, their Courton. We jump right into the Grand Cru here with Bouchard's wines. And this wine had a lovely, intense bouquet, kind of fresh, gravelly, earthy note, stone, cola, like minerals they're showing. Some light red cherry berry fruit also. Really nice big wine on the palate, filling out the tongue from the center out with firm tannins and really nice length, a host of those dark spices and wonderful freshness shown in this wine. It's got quite a ways to go. 2009 Beaune Graves, the Baby Jesus wine, one of the most famous wines that Bouchard makes, Bouchard Père Fils being the largest of all the negociants in terms of ownership of Premier and Grand Cru wines. And this, a very famous one, we had the 49 vintage Baby Jesus the first time I met Luc Bouchard at the Great Wine Seminar. A stunning wine. I still have the empty bottle, and I don't keep many empty bottles, but this was one of the first ones I added to my collection. This wine has a lovely nuance to the nose here, kind of some fresh earth and barnyardy notes to that as well, of that red berry fruit, some light smoke, allspice, dried potpourri of flowers, and really big on the palate. You know, the Courton in this kind of went back and forth with people which one was their favorite, but I definitely like the Baby Jesus wine better in this case, just a little more nuanced, a little more complex. And then the bonus round. Well, you know, Gamble, to me, making some of the best wines in Burgundy. Clos Vougeot can be kind of hit or miss. It's such a large vineyard. It's got 100 different owners, and Gamble has a spot on the top of the hill. You know, and the only reason I know that is I know Alex, and the people on the bottom of the hill, not so lucky. Well, in 2009, it really didn't matter quite as much, but still a little more intensity on the top of the hill. An exotic array of spices shown on the nose here with kind of mint, black raspberry, an array of floral nuance. Really complex bouquet. A sizable wine on the palate. Lots of everything, that oriental spice, light smoke, firm tannins, again, like melted chocolate, but killer. This wine lasting a full minute or longer on the palate. And then the Bernard Huber wine with Spat Burgunder, which we said we're going to throw into this Burgundy tasting. And man, this wine stood up to these other wines. Bigger, actually, than even the Clos Vougeot. Had more spice, more nuance, and an even longer finish. This wine showing killer once again at, hey, $100 for a German Pinot. We sold a bunch of it on this killer wine offering, though. And you know what? The people that tasted on this night also thought it belonged in this group of wines among some of the top Burgundy's Premier and Grand Cru. All right, folks, that's how the Burgundy tasting went. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.